is 11 games.
One fat boy. I'll be going over my NBA game predictions for January 5th of 2022. Tonight there is 11 games, and I'll be going over the spreads, which I got from FanDuel, and then the over-unders are my thoughts on the game. For Detroit at Charlotte, I'll be going with Detroit plus 9.5. Detroit's been able to keep their games closer, and then Charlotte has not been able to, win their games. It really just comes down to if they're making their shots or not. So in that case, I think Detroit will be able to make their open shots, as Charlotte does not play that great of defense, rather than Charlotte making all their shots and Detroit playing mediocre, average defense. So I'll be leaning towards that. So Detroit will be making more of their shots than expected. Like, Charlotte should still win this game, but I think it'll just be a close game overall. Be going over 216.5, which is probably on the low end of things, but I don't ever have too much faith for Detroit in making their open shots, as they've had multiple games scoring under 100 points. So that's why I have my over so low, especially for a Charlotte game, but that's a pretty safe bet right there. For Houston at Washington, I'll be going with Washington minus 6.5. So Washington is kind of that mid-tier 500 team in the East, and they should be able to handle the Rockets, because Washington should be trying to get as many free wins as they can, and they have one right in their home court tonight. So I'll be taking Washington with the spread. They should be able to score at will, because there's turmoil in the Rockets between Wood and Porter Jr., so it's like I don't know what's really happening between that. And I just know it ain't good for the team. So I'm pretty bearish on the Rockets right now, but over 211.5, as Houston's defense is not what they're known for, and Washington should be able to score more than the Rockets. And Washington's defense also not great, so Rockets, even with all their turmoil, should be able to still score the ball relatively well, but over 211.5, as these are still not the best two teams in the world. For the Sixers at the Magic, I'll be going with the Sixers minus 8, as the Sixers are just a better team. Pretty much, if you have Embiid on your team, I'm usually gonna have faith with that team, as Embiid's very good. It's like no big man can really guard him in the league, and he's just an incredible player. No one on the Magic should be able to slow him down, so he should be able to score at will, get all his rebounds, then maybe find some open people if he can, but this should be his game, to lose. Like, it's all on him. Like, the Sixers should win. Like, no doubt in my mind. It's just, can they cover the 8 points? I'll be going over 214.5, as the Sixers offense shouldn't have a problem against the Magic. It's literally just going to come down, can they just make their shots when they need to? Like, if you're open, just make the shot. It ain't hard. You're getting paid millions of dollars to make a shot. And then Orlando, I don't know. I don't know about Sixers defense. It's regular season, so they just kind of play basketball, just kind of meddling defense, like middle of the pack. So Magic should still score around like low hundreds, I feel. So Sixers just got to score that like 115, and this should go over 214.5. For the Nets at the Pacers, I'll be going with Brooklyn minus 6.5, as they have Durant and Harden, and both of them had kind of below average games last game, and I assume they'd like to have better games the next game and actually win, try and get back to that number 1 seed where they were at in the East, and take down the Pacers at their home court. And the Pacers, they're kind of random this season. If I were to just take a stab at them, I don't know what they're doing, but as long as for the Nets, if Durant and Harden get going, this shouldn't be a problem at all. I'll be going with Brooklyn minus 6.5, and that should be an over 216.5, as I believe Durant and Harden should be able to get their teammates involved and make their own shots over 216.5. No problem. For Golden State at the Mavericks, I'll be going for Golden State -5. I just find it hard to bet against Golden State, and with a spread that kind of close, especially against the Mavericks, who don't have everyone, I believe. Golden State -5, and I'm pretty sure Golden State doesn't have everyone, but pretty much if you have Curry, that just kind of throws a wrench in how you have to defend the Warriors, as you have to have someone always following him around. So Golden State should be able to win no problem. I'll be going under 221.5, as I think Mavericks defense will actually do decent, but their offense will struggle just because the Golden State Warriors defense is better than theirs, and Mavericks offense, you'll just have like a great game every like third game, but usually this would be like a average or below average game for them this season. And Golden State, they're known for their offense, but honestly their defense has been pretty great this season, and just how they score the ball, they just score enough to win, that's for sure, but enough to win by 10 though. So Golden State -5, under 224. San Antonio at Boston, we're going Boston -8.5, as Boston has their main two players in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown playing for them, so that should help them a lot. Also playing on their home court, and also Boston's been playing much better over the past few weeks, so I have more faith in them for covering their spreads and winning games, so that's why I'm going with Boston over the Spurs, who've just kind of not been out winning games, or just not closing out their games. So I just have more faith in Boston just coming out with a win. I'll be going over 215.5, as Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum should be able to get the shots that they want, be more brolic than the Spurs, and just score at will, which would lead to Boston. They should score at least 115, like somewhere between like 110 and 118. I think somewhere in there, Boston will score. So that means Spurs just got to cover at least like 100 points for this to go over 215.5. For the Thunder at the Timberwolves, I'll be going with Minnesota -8. These are two young teams, but the talent on Minnesota, I feel, is more aligned. They've been coming together. Just they can clamp down and play some defense. A lot of high energy guys on Minnesota, which doesn't say that the Thunder don't have. There's just I think Minnesota's just the better version of the Thunder, and if those two teams are going to meet, of course the better versions should win. So that's why I'm going to lean towards Minnesota -8. I will be going under 225.5, as Minnesota's defense should slow down Thunder a lot, and who's going to score for the Thunder? I don't know. So I think they're just going to have a hard time scoring the ball in general, and then Minnesota, they can just pile on points really quick. So this is one of those games where it's like, I don't know exactly where the point spread will be, because there's like two different wild variables that can go on. It's like Minnesota scoring a lot, and then the Thunder just not scoring any points. So be like an over 208 or like an under 225.5. So I'll be going under. We lean towards an under for this game though, so under 225.5. For Toronto at Milwaukee, going with Milwaukee -8.5. Toronto played last night, so gonna be a little more tired, but it wasn't like a close game, so it won't be as noticeable. But they are still playing Milwaukee. Milwaukee, I'm sure, wants to get a win after losing to one of the bottom tier teams. So I'll be looking for the Bucks to bounce back in a pretty big way and try and destroy Toronto pretty handily. I expect Milwaukee's defense to lead that charge, so that's why I'm going under 226.5, as I still expect Milwaukee to score like normally, but I think Toronto will be much below their season average. For Utah at Denver, so I expect Utah to still win at -6, even though they are playing in Denver, which is a relatively difficult place to play, but Utah is the better team this year. Well, and especially right now against the Nuggets, as they just have more tools to work with. Gobert should slow down Jokic, as he is very big, very long, and pretty good at playing defenses. That's what they pay him for. So I expect Denver's offense to struggle, but Utah's offense should still just run without a hitch. I still expect Jokic to get his numbers, but I probably lean towards his assists being higher than normal and maybe his points a little lower, as he should be looking towards to getting his teammates involved or just trying to force Gobert to get in foul trouble if Denver's going to have a chance to win this. But I think Utah is just the better team overall. Shouldn't have a problem with winning. Shouldn't have a problem hitting their threes overall. For Miami at Portland, so no one's really left on Miami because they're all out due to injuries or any protocol stuff. All that is left is Tyler Hero. And do I think he'll be the hero? Not enough to beat Portland, as there's going to be Lillard, and then if Simons has another game like he did last time, even if he just scores 20, it's like that's kind of hard to overcome and beat Portland if you have no one on your side of the team. So I'll be leaning towards Portland -1. I will be going over 220.5, as I think Portland is still going to play no defense, as that's what they do. So Miami they just got to knock down their open shots. And then Miami will play some defense, but I think there's just a little bit more talent on Portland right now, just due to the injuries for these two teams, that they should be able to just knock down some of their contested shots more often than Miami does. And then when they get their open shots, they should knock them down. They are getting paid millions of dollars to put a ball in a basket, so they should be able to hit their open shots. So over 220.5. For Atlanta at Sacramento, I'll be going Atlanta +1. Sacramento played last night against the Lakers, which was a close game mostly throughout. Went through the 4 quarters pretty close, but I don't think Sacramento's defense will be able to slow down Trae Young, as Trae Young proved that he can score the ball last game, 56 points. Will he score 56 again? Probably not, but will he score it in the 30s? I think so. So I'd bet on that. Then Atlanta being within 1 point, you betcha. It's like they were pretty close against Portland, and Portland scored a lot of points against them, but this is going to be a no defense game at all. So I assume my over-under, because I haven't seen what the spread will be, but over 224, that seems pretty safe for this game, as this will probably end up being like one of those over 232 just for the initial spreads. But I'm going a little lower because Sacramento played last night, might be a little bit more tired. And then Atlanta, will Trae Young be that hot again? And will the people around them be that hot? I don't know. But if there is a game to bet on threes, I'd say it would be this game tonight. And then just a high over, probably be this game too, as I expect no defense, just a lot of offense, a lot of up and down. Thank you for watching. Comment any of your predictions for any spreads, over-unders, winners, any player props. Put them down in the comments so others can see. And once again, thank you for watching.